What's up, gang? Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. Wave 5 of MOTU Origins is hitting local retail, and we've got a new mini comic that comes with the figures. This one is called Sucker Punch. Now, the cover has a somewhat quirky feel to it, with Fisto seen here appearing dumbfounded by something that he's holding in his hands, and someone that appears to be He-Man about to strike him from behind. I'm not really sure what those triangular things are that he's holding though. Just by staring at this image, it appears that it could be giant jewels that he found in the forest. Also, it seems here on the cover that Fisto appears to have his normal human hands exposed instead of being covered by the steel fist. You mean that he was wearing gloves the entire time? Actually, you know what? I was wondering if the steel fist was something that was permanently attached to his right arm or if it was removable. Anyway, they may have just forgotten to color the steel parts in where the image is right now. So yeah. The story begins with Fisto standing in what appears to be the enchanted forest, and he's talking to himself, and he says here, "Things have been quiet lately, frankly, a little too quiet." Well, you know what? In movies, and in fact, all kinds of stories that you read, it's always a mistake when a character just says that things have been too quiet, okay? Because that's the moment that shit just hits the fan. And true enough, there's like a shrill shriek that's heard in the next panel, and Fisto gets the impression that somebody's attacking the forest, all right? And you see him springing into action with like lightning quick reflexes, okay? He's just waiting for the call, okay? The minute the forest is in danger, Fisto's there to answer the call. Okay, now Fisto stumbles upon this scene of someone that appears to be He-Man commanding the land shark, and the land shark's just rampaging through the entire forest. And this person that's driving it is like, "Haha, the forest is mine." And Fisto's like, "He-Man, what are you doing?" And then he straight up just punches the land shark right in the front of its mouth, and sends like all these teeth flying about in the air, and causes the person that appears to be He-Man flying out of the vehicle as well. Actually, you know what? Looking at the scene here, you know what? Seeing those teeth being knocked out of the land shark. Now that was probably what Fisto was holding on the cover, okay? Yeah, except that if you didn't read the story and you're just looking at the cover, you just be wondering like, what the hell are those triangular things that he's got in his hands? Well, so now you know. Also, and I gotta say, great product placement for the land shark, okay? I mean, the toy just came out and the damn thing's also in the comic book now, so great. Okay, and then He-Man's lying unconscious on the ground, and Fisto approaches him to try and talk some sense into him. But then you see that He-Man's hand is reaching for this piece of wood lying next to him that's handily shaped like a club of some kind, and uses it to straight up just knock Fisto out cold. All right. So Fisto's basically lying unconscious on the ground. And I kind of wondered, if this was even possible, okay, because you just saw the guy take out the land shark with just a single punch of his steel fist, okay? And yeah, I know he was using his steel fist, but overall, to be able to handle something like that, you've got to be a pretty strong guy, right? I mean, Fisto does look like a pretty strong guy. Okay, so the scene of him just being taken out with a single knock from the piece of wood, that was just pretty unbelievable, okay? I mean, if somebody used a piece of wood to knock me out, I would accept that, okay? I would totally be knocked out. But a guy like Fisto, that's stretching it a bit, right? Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a break from this and cut to one of the original mini comics from the 1980s, in which Fisto was also the main star, and this one was called The Clash of Arms. Now, it can't be, a coincidence that, in both stories where Fisto is the main star, there's a scene of a club being used, or a wooden stick that appears to be a club. So what happens here is that Fisto gets kidnapped by Skeletor and is forced to fight in an arena against multiple adversaries, okay? So the arena is supposed to be called something like the Circle of Doom. And the thing is that being the way the arena is depicted, it's totally been cleared of all weapons. Okay, so basically Fisto has to fight these guys without any weapons of any kind, just basically by using his steel fist, right? Okay, so Fisto is facing off against Clawful in the arena, and Clawful's knocked him out cold. All right, he's lying flat on the ground, and it just so happens that there's a piece of wood lying close by. Okay, there's a piece of wood lying close by, just inches away from his grasp, and he's able to use it as a weapon to take Clawful out. Okay, I saw this in the comic, and I was like, you know what? No freaking way. Okay, that is such a coincidence. There's no way that stuff like this can happen in real life. Okay, but hey, you know what? Whatever to move the story along, right? So I kind of felt that the scene where well, basically you have He-Man here in the Sucker Punch comic using the piece of wood as a club to take Fisto out. I kind of felt that was a homage, okay, to this earlier story, the Clash of Arms. What do you guys think? All right, so Fisto wakes up a few hours later after being knocked out. He wakes up in what appears to be some kind of a cell. He's been imprisoned. Okay, he uses his steel fist to try to break down the door. Okay, you get this scene of him just slamming at the door, but then he bounces back. Okay, something just causes him to bounce back. Things are not looking too good here, right? First, he gets taken out by a single knock from a piece of wood, and then now his steel fist apparently doesn't work. So what's going on? Okay, then the mysterious version of He-Man reappears at the doorway, and he explains to Fisto that the room that he's in is protected by some sort of a spell that is keeping him imprisoned. All right, so Fisto's just screwed, right? And then there's this scene here where what appears to be He-Man just basically slams Fisto straight to the ground. Okay, see, this scene is pretty incredible because that that's not He-Man, first of all. Okay, so how could an average guy push Fisto to the ground like that? Okay, how can Fisto be taken out so easily? That's my question here, all right? But well, you get the scene here where he just shoves him to the ground and he says, "Stay down, you dog." Yeah. You know what? This story is not being too kind to Fisto. Okay, but then Fisto begins to suspect that there's something really pretty wrong with this version of He-Man. Okay, well, it's about time, right? And then he kind of tricks He-Man to basically lower his guard, and then seizes the opportunity to just strike at him. Okay, apparently this is the one single punch that counts because it takes him out totally. Okay, and when Fisto punches He-Man here, you start to see shades of blue appear on the skin, and then there's these sounds of crackling circuitry, and you realize that he's just a robot. Okay, and then suddenly Fisto addresses him as Faker. Okay, wow, it took us a while to get here, right? Okay, some of you may be wondering just how is it possible that Faker is able to appear as an exact copy of He-Man? Okay, now if he's able to look like He-Man, now why doesn't the toy have this feature? All right, why is he just blue, all the way in the toy? Now, the thing about Faker is that he's advertised as the evil robot of Skeletor. Now, the way I figure it is that he operates just as a robotic character, but he's also a combination of both Skeletor and He-Man. Skeletor has blue skin, so he may have wanted his own evil robotic creation to also have the same skin color, right? And the fact that Faker has He-Man's face is likely an attempt by Skeletor to just mock He-Man. Okay, now in the classic cartoon, there were some scenes in which Faker was presented as an exact duplicate of He-Man. Just like he appears in this mini comic, all right? So what's the deal? It seems that in the cartoon, Faker was empowered by magical forces, and that's why he's able to look like He-Man's twin brother. Now, there is apparently a disconnect between the toy and the cartoon, and to the best of my knowledge, Faker was never presented in the original cartoon the way that his action figure looked like. So In many ways, this story is pretty brilliant, okay, in its own way, because it may be attempting to address the disconnect between the toy and the cartoon presentation of Faker. And in one of the final scenes here, you get this panel here where you see Evelyn standing over the damaged body of Faker, and she's saying here that mistakes were made, but victory was within my grasp. So you kind of get the impression or the suspicion that magic could have been involved. However, at the same time, it does occur to me that since Faker can appear to be a representation of He-Man, why couldn't they just make it like he was covered in some sort of living human tissue, like the Terminator, right? How about that? Anyway, this story is pretty cool. I gotta say that in the sense that Fisto is the main character. You don't even get He-Man in the story. Okay, I mean you do get He-Man, but not He-Man as he's supposed to be. So Fisto is really the main star. Probably one of the main drawbacks here would be that if you were just a casual fan, or if you just bought the toy because you thought that Faker looked cool and you had no idea what the backstory was, you'd probably just be wondering what in the hell was going on here. Okay, how is it even possible that Faker could appear to be an exact copy of He-Man? That was probably one aspect that it would be great if they had elaborated on a little bit more. But other than that, yeah, the story was pretty good. Okay, it is a recommend. It actually flowed a lot better than some of the other mini comics that they put out before this, and also there is a twist ending. Okay, the last panel has sort of a shock reveal, but I'm not gonna get into that. Okay, I want to save it for you guys out there when you get this thing in your hands for yourselves, so you guys can enjoy it. All right, so hey, that's the video. That's my review and my look at Sucker Punch, the mini comic for MOTU Origins Wave 5. Now, do let me know what you thought of the video. Do let me know what you think of the MOTU Origins line so far. And just leave me a comment on anything MOTU related. I'll be sure to reply you. And keep following the channel. I'll be back again with more content soon. Thank you.